Hello everybody, I love you. Today's video is going to be a little different than the rest of the videos I do. I want to talk about the injustices that we are watching right now unravel, that we've been watching for quite some time, but are becoming a little bit more energetically intense. And so if this is not a video you want to watch and you're like, Lori, I'm just here for the galactic stuff and the quantum stuff, then just turn it off. If you are looking for more assistance in navigating the really dense consciousnesses that we are here to shift into higher frequencies, including injustices, civil rights, abuse, rape, all of these things that we don't like to talk about, that I don't like to talk about, but that is important to discuss, then sit back, relax, and let this message move through you. So last night, it was around 2 a.m. and I was on TikTok. Don't ask. It's an app. Don't go on it if you haven't. It's very addictive. And I was watching a couple different videos on an incident that occurred a couple days ago where a black man was murdered by these cops, right? And my whole body, I watched my whole body literally start to get very, very sick. I was sweating. My stomach started to get nauseous, like I was going to throw up. I started to have anxiety and stress. I started crying. I was watching myself respond to the dense consciousness that was that experience. And I put my phone down and I just said to the Galactic Federation of Light, I said, what is this? Like, help me understand this energetic experience that I'm having, because the way I view my world is through energy. I have human emotions, I have human thoughts, behaviors, beliefs, all that stuff, but I am always looking at it through the lens of energy, because it is all just energy. And so I laid my phone down and I sat with the Galactic Federation of Light, and they said, okay, do you want the higher perspective or do you want the human perspective? And I said, well, give me the human perspective right now, because I don't care about the higher perspective. And they said, okay, we want you to visualize these humans that are participating in this event, i.e. creating the injustices or the murder, the chaos, the rapes, all the stuff that is denser that we're seeing playing out, the humans that are doing that. We want you to see them as holding in their bodies lower consciousnesses, a lot of lower consciousness. I said, okay. So they said, okay, we want you to see the spectrum of the third dimensional consciousness, and their body is holding a lot more of this lower consciousness. They are used to seeing and being in injustices. They feel like it's okay. They feel like it is right because they are holding it, right? Forget about why or how, right? That's a whole other video. But whatever they have chosen to experience in this human life, they're holding much denser consciousnesses. And so when they look at injustices or when they play out injustices, it feels okay to them. They don't have the same energetic reaction that you have, Lori, which is an absolute repulsion of that consciousness. So as I'm watching this play out, my entire body is holding such high frequency that it literally has a dissonance that is so impactful that I want to throw up, right? Now, as I continue to explain this to you, try not to hold this in the lens of, I am better than that human that's holding lower consciousness. I am right and they are wrong. We can have that. We can say, I'm right, they're wrong. Injustices are wrong. And from a higher perspective, absolutely every human is deserving of being free, okay? Absolutely. But in this third dimensional field, every human is just reacting, responding, and being based on their frequency. And so from a higher perspective, they're just being them based on their frequency. But we get to have all our opinions about it. It's okay. We get to say yes, no, right, wrong, hell no. So as you're listening to me continue on, Watch when you start to go into better than, worse than, right and wrong. And can you step back out a little bit and just put your ascension goggles on just for a moment? Ascension goggles are going to let you look at everything through energy. So back to what they were saying to me. These humans, and there are millions of humans on the earth plane that are holding very low frequencies. These are the humans that are in the collective consciousness, holding the consciousnesses that you as the way shower, light worker, and starseed are shifting. It's a physical shift that you're watching right now, Lori. You watching this video, it's a physical shift in consciousness, and it is uncomfortable sometimes. They said you are holding much higher frequencies. You do not experience injustice in your world. You do not create injustice in your world. You do not create murder or injuries or chaos or greed or any of that in your world, correct? I said, yeah. So you are not resonating with that consciousness. Your role is to allow yourself to turn and see it. This is why we're showing it to you. Because I was like, why do I have to see this? It doesn't fucking feel good, excuse my language, right? It hurts me to my bones. It hurts my heart. It hurts, right? It hurts. When we watch it, it hurts. And I said, why do I have to watch it, right? Why do I have to feel it? And they said, that's how you shift it. This is how you shift physically lower consciousnesses. And as a light worker, way shower, starseed, whoever name you give us, right? It doesn't matter. We get to respond and play our role however we want. Meaning, if you want to stand up and argue and protest and fight against it, that's okay. Can you also put the ascension goggle lens on and open your heart up and try to understand this through an energetic perspective? Because when you do that, it'll shift the way you respond. You'll look at those cops or those abusers or those people that are neglecting their children or the animals or whatever. You'll start to see them as an energetic body. Oh, they're holding much lower consciousnesses in their bodies. And so they're playing out that. I'm here to shift that. And the more of us that are waking up, which all of you are, we're standing and holding and anchoring the higher frequencies. The more of us that do this, the more we start to pull the consciousnesses that are massively dense, that hurt our hearts to feel, that make us nauseous and angry, the more we start to pull those paradigms and consciousnesses into the light. And unfortunately, many of us have to look at it. Now, there are many light workers that will choose not to look at it, and they'll just choose to hold their frequency with an open heart, and that's okay. We can't make them wrong for not standing up or saying something or fighting against it or not looking at it, right? We can't make anything wrong in terms of how we navigate these injustices, how we see them, how we feel them, how we respond. But can we start to understand, they said, that this is why you're here. This is the physical shift. And as you all start to see it and hold the higher frequencies and have compassion for how you are experiencing it, you will shift it. You will shift it. And the even bigger picture beyond that is that this is all divinely planned and designed. There are no mistakes. The humans that are dying, the animals that are dying, the people that are murdering or killing those people and animals and the planet, right? The people that are putting these injustices into the humans' experience. It's not a mistake. This is very challenging for a lot of humans to hold. But this is what they said to me. This is the higher perspective that I didn't want to hear last night when I was in my heart, sad, crying, right? I wanted to allow myself to feel the human. I wanted to cry. And they said, great, do that. Now, can we also share the higher perspective, which is that man is doing that and agreed to that so that this collective consciousness, this massively dense paradigm could become even brighter into the collective, could shine bigger so that we can say, oh my God, this is what we're pulling. This is what we're shifting. The more these humans courageously allow us to see it by choosing to experience it, choosing to experience the injustices so that the collective can shift, the more that happens, the more the shifting occurs, the more the collective starts to shift, because we are standing here holding these higher frequencies, shining light, whether we say no, whether we just feel, whether we open our hearts, whether we hold all of humanity and all beings in love and light, whatever we choose to do. What we are doing is focusing our attention on it, our light, our being, and by doing that, it shifts it. So all of these amazing, courageous humans that are sacrificing their lives, that are actually harming the humans, right? The police officers, the mothers, the fathers, the corrupt government agencies, whatever it is, there is a role that they're playing in the ascension process. This is a massively courageous role, whether we want to look at it or not. And a lot of times when we're in our humanness, hell no, that's not going to work for us. We're not going to be able to see that. But after we process the emotions, we may be able to step back and say, this is all divinely designed so that this shift in consciousness can occur. At the end of the day, the much larger picture is that there is a massive shift in frequency in the human form, which is the collective, and on the earth form. They're shifting, it's shifting frequencies, we're shifting frequencies, and the collective is shifting frequencies. Whether you agree with that, whether you want to, whether you understand it, that's what's happening. That's what's been happening for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And when it becomes physical, which is what we are watching right now, it becomes really, really intense. We feel so much more because it's physical, meaning it's in our bodies now. We're in our bodies, and so we're feeling the consciousness more and more and more, right? I guarantee you, you're probably like, what the freak? I'm feeling so much more now than I ever have. Whether it's sadness, whether it's love, joy, peace, expansion, rage, anger, wanting to stand up for people's rights, whatever it is, there's more that you are feeling energetically and emotionally because we're in our bodies now, we're holding higher frequencies, and our job is to pull the collective into higher frequencies by shining the light, however you want to do that. So this isn't about a black and white, like you have to do it this way or that way. It isn't about a right or wrong, right? Because from the bigger perspective, the Galactic Federation of Light said there's nothing wrong with what's unraveling. We understand the human aspect. It is intense for you guys. It's like a battlefield for you guys, right? But there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing. This is how it has to unravel to shift. And so the more I can feel, whatever I feel, I'm doing my part in shifting. It happens slowly, you guys. So you may say to yourself, well, how is this even work? How is this even shifting? It's like your hair growing. You don't look in the mirror every day and say, why is my hair not growing? Why is my hair not growing? You know, naturally it's growing. You don't have to do anything other than let it grow, right? Wash it, do whatever. It's the same thing with the shift in the collective consciousness. We just have to let it be. We have to watch it. We have to watch it and experience it however we are naturally watching it and experiencing it, whether it's 2 a.m. and you're crying and you're breaking down and you're angry and you're sick to your stomach. Whether you have to turn your back and say, I had enough, I can't watch right now. Whether you choose to jump in and say, I'm going to stand up for these beings, these animals, these people, whatever. It's all the way that we are choosing to shift it. And there are those that will completely ignore it and just try to stay in that light and high frequency. And we have to allow that to be okay as well. It's like our energetic bodies are turning on even more intensely, and this is no longer about reading, learning, or understanding. This is about doing it and being it. This is when we go to action. And so there's a lot of questions of, how do I hold my high frequency when I'm watching this happen? You are holding high frequency. You don't have to do anything to hold your high frequency. It is you. What you have to do is love and honor yourself, have compassion for yourself, and feel all of it. There's nothing wrong with getting angry. There's nothing wrong with choosing a side if that's what you're going to do. There's nothing wrong with saying, they're wrong, I'm right. Let ourselves be human, but can we also, at another now moment, whether it's when we're feeling it or when we're not feeling it, but can we also start to see this through the energetic lens? These people that are doing these things that we find horrific are holding very dense consciousnesses in their body, and they are unconscious to it, and they are what we are shifting. They and the paradigms they're playing in and what we are watching unravel is what we are shifting. So from a much bigger perspective, we're watching ourselves do the work by watching what is unraveling. We have to remember that because we are seeing what is unraveling and it feels intense, it doesn't mean it's getting worse. It means it's shifting. There will be another now moment where these injustices will not be occurring on the earth plane. And the only way that happens is by allowing it to continue to bubble up so that more and more humans wake up and say, oh my God, no more. Hold the higher frequencies. Shine our light. Hold these beings in a huge amount of light. Shifting consciousness is very subtle. Shifting a collective is even more subtle. So you may think you're doing nothing by watching it, by crying, by feeling it. You're doing everything. This is the work. This is the work. It's not going to make sense to you necessarily in a logical sense. It's like you're going to say to yourself, oh, no. In order to shift the collective and move it into higher frequencies, I've got to do this. No, no. It's an energetic pull. And so the density has to continue to show itself over and over and over. As we continue to hold higher frequencies, we are literally, as we hold higher frequencies in our bodies, more of us, hundreds of thousands of us, maybe even millions, right, are holding these higher frequencies. Yes, millions, they're saying, are holding these higher frequencies. We are literally pulling the density out. We're pulling the density out, shining our light on it and saying, no more. Come with us. Shift. Shift, shift, and it eventually starts to shift. It's a slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. We got to settle into this. We have to settle in. We have to honor and have compassion for what we feel. see this as energy if you can, and feel everything you're feeling. The more you can stand up to it as an energetic being as opposed to an egoic being, meaning if you can stand up to it instead of having rage and anger, but perhaps having an understanding of energy, it has a more impactful impact on the consciousness. I'll explain that. If you are trying to shift something or make a change in a consciousness, saying that's wrong, 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 with anger and rage, it's going to take longer because you're using a consciousness that is lower. It's very similar to that consciousness that you're shifting. So it's going to take longer to shift it. If you step into it and try to shift it holding higher frequencies, an open heart, compassion, an understanding, an awareness, love, light, right? So you're trying to have an understanding of it, an empathy around it while you're still saying no, right? Or this isn't okay anymore, or whatever that may be. But you're doing it from an open heart. You're doing it from a vibrational space that is more expansive instead of anger and rage. You will have a higher probability of making an impact. Whether you see that or not, you're most likely not going to see it, but higher frequency light has more of an impact than anger and rage and wanting to slam your fists and fight against something, because that's in a lower consciousness. It's all energy. Lower consciousnesses trying to pull lower consciousnesses into the light is going to take a long time, because it's very similar to the consciousness you're trying to shift. So they're just kind of hanging out together. But you can have the anger and the rage, and you can stand up and battle and all of that. It's okay. But can you start to feel what that feels like and then say, oh, wait a second, this might not be doing as much energetic work as if I were to hold my heart open and love all that's unraveling as best as I can, with as much compassion for all that's involved, holding higher frequencies in a more expanded state, possibly, we'll see. And when I do that, it actually has a bigger impact on this dense, massively large consciousness called injustices, civil rights, murder, rape, all of that stuff, right? Hugely dense consciousness. So just pay attention to how you're navigating it, how you're engaging. Again, there's no right, wrong, good or bad. It's all energy. But the higher in frequency you are being in, the faster that density will be pulled. And the Galactic Federation of Light, they're telling me right now, it is inevitable that these densities are going to shift. The collective is shifting, they're saying. It's shifting. So try not to doubt what we're doing here. Try not to doubt, they're saying, that it is going to hell in a handbasket. The density, the shit, the chaos, the rage, the anger, the murder, all of this, it has to be boiling up. We have to see it over and over and over, because it is massively inundating the human collective. It's not going to shift just like that and all of a sudden injustices are gone, they're saying. This is a process, and you are the warriors. That's what they're saying right now. You're the warriors. And you get to navigate this however you want, but can you drop deeper into your body and into your heart as you navigate this? Compassion for you first, compassion for others perhaps, compassion for all the humans that are holding those really low consciousnesses, allowing us to see what we're shifting and allowing us to shift it by them being in it. How are you being? Are you loving yourself through this? Are you letting yourself feel it all? You're the warrior or the warrioress. You're the light warrior. You're the courageous being standing in human form, remembering this. Remembering that you've got to hold the high frequencies first, and you got to turn and look at this. You got to feel it. Can you see it from the higher perspective a little bit? Can you start to? Because that's what you're going to start to do as well. And then when you respond or react to it, what does it feel like to you? How are you combating? How are you going? How are you being with it? You don't have to stay silent. You don't have to shut your mouth. You don't have to just try to just be like, well, it's all just is and I'm not going to do anything. No, if you want to fight against it, or you want to stand up, or you want to do whatever you do, do it, they're saying. But where are you coming from inside energetically? Because the more you can come from that heart space and that expanded state of beingness, you will shift much faster. Gandhi shifted much faster than an angry, being, an angry human that came in and said, no, 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 no. Jesus shifted people much faster by coming in with compassion and love, instead of somebody that came in and said, no, 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 wrong, 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 wrong. Right? Mother Teresa shifted consciousness much easier and faster by coming in with compassion and love, instead of no, 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 wrong, 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 wrong. So we just want to watch how we're navigating it. And there is no right or wrong around how any of us do this. We're just learning, we're remembering, we're navigating this the best we can. So the next time, maybe it's right after this video, right? You see the images, you hear stories, you're watching things. Step one, let yourself just feel it if you're feeling it. Don't make it right or wrong, or, oh my God, I better hold the higher frequencies, I'm not being a light worker. Throw that out the door. Feel it, because that's the work. That's being a light worker, a way shower, a starseed, is to feel it. And then step two, remember that your job here is to shift this. It's got to come up. There's nothing wrong with it coming up. There's nothing wrong with seeing it over and over and over it. This is how you are shifting it. Step three, remember that you're a high frequency light being, and you get to choose how you're going to navigate this. You get to choose. Just being in your light, standing up against it, posting about it, talking about it, whatever you want. Step four, when you're doing that, where are you coming from? Your ego and anger, like this place of your emotion, or your heart center? Heart space, expansion, light. And then step five, remember, from a much bigger perspective, this is the divine blueprint playing out. There's no mistakes. These humans are courageously choosing to play that role so that the collective can shift. And that's the hardest piece to hold. But it's an absolute truth. And you don't have to hold that as your truth. But it is a truth. They're allowing the dense consciousness to come up over and over. So many humans are playing that role courageously. This is all about physically shifting consciousness, collectively, individually, and on the earth plane. And now we're doing it. We're actually being the role that we came down here to be. I love you so much. You are so honored and loved and cherished and courageous to step out and to navigate all of this. Let yourself just be. Remember who you are. See everything as energy. Practice. I love you.